Welcome in, YCN Sports Talk, Jeremy Stout, and today I'm joined by Rob Taylor, Executive Director of the Lebanon Area Chamber. Did I get that right?
You got it.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And the Lebanon area covers, obviously, Lebanon, Plainfield, Enfield, and Canaan.
That's correct. That's our geographic home territory.
All right, and you're a big sports fan and grew up in the area, Meriden, Plainfield.
Yep.
So we will talk to you about that at the end of this first segment. Let's get into the Red Sox. First, the series against the Yankees that they're in the middle of right now. How big of a series is this for, I mean, we're only in the beginning of June. But, you know, Red Sox, Yankees, it's big, or we got to be careful not to make too big of a deal of it.
Well, I say anytime the Red Sox and the Yankees get together, it's
Right.
big. It's always big, right?
Right.
So it is early in the season, but we always sort of use this as a barometer to kind of see where the Sox are at and where the Yankees are at. We know
Right.
that there's only 2 games right now separating them in the standings. So I think the Sox are in a good position right now to certainly make a run at first place if they do well against the Yankees. But this is big time. Every time they come together, so it'll be a good indicator of where we're at.
And I just figure as long as the Red Sox don't get swept or the Yankees don't get swept, it's probably going to remain close anyway.
That's right.
I mean,
It's
no one's going to pull away this early. Staying with the Red Sox, their pitching staff has kind of been the biggest area of concern. David Price, a good outing last week against Baltimore, his second outing, so he's looked good. But Eduardo Rodriguez now on the DL, is that a big concern? I mean, it's like you get one guy back finally, and then you lose another one.
That's true. That's the game you play in
Right.
baseball with the injured reserve, and sometimes it's not necessarily the best team at the end of the year, but the healthiest team.
Right, yeah.
But I know Erod with his record of 4-2, I believe.
Yeah, he's had a good season
He's had
so
a good
far.
season. He's been strong for us. So obviously we're hopeful that he's not out too long.
Right.
But it's definitely good to have our ace back.
He looked good.
Yeah.
He had a slow start in his first game, and then his second game, he pitched 7 innings. He had 7 strikeouts. So
he's a pleasure
really
to
strong.
watch. We got some
when
great
he's on.
guys with great mechanics that can really deal it in there, and it's fun to see him go.
And speaking of that, a couple of the young guys, as we talk about Betts, Bogarts, Bradley, you have a little connection to them as Ben Arrington, the former general manager of the Red Sox, who kind of brought this farm system up to where it is now at the major leagues, Benintendi. You know him, grew up with him in Meriden, and talk a little bit about that, how you know him.
Ben Arrington is an old friend of mine. Got to play baseball with him back in my grade school days. He was always a great ball player. Actually, a few years younger, but he played on my team as a youngster and always was a standout. I'll never forget a game playing against Cornish, Plainfield versus Cornish, where he actually ended up breaking his arm trying to make a leaping catch. And you could tell from a very early age he had it in his blood. He was destined for great things, and of course he went on to play at Leb High.
Yep.
Went to Amherst, and that's how he made the connections through the Red Sox. I think it was
right, with Theo and the whole bunch.
Yeah, Dan Duquette was an Amherst guy.
Yep.
And so I think his first job, actually while he was still in college, he got an internship running the radar gun for him.
All right.
And then he did a brief stint with the Cleveland Indians, but he came back to the Sox in '99, and he was with the Sox for until the time he left as the GM. And so you could safely say he was part of 3 championship teams.
Right, yeah.
And he's probably got 3 rings in his collection at home. And we were just always real proud of Ben.
Yeah.
We had a group of guys, we'd always go down to see him.
Yep.
At least once during the year, he'd hook us up with tickets on the Green Monster.
Right, something nice, yeah.
But we were kind of sad to see him go. You know, it's one of those things, the way that business is, it's a what have you done for me lately kind of thing. And even though he had been so great for him,
and especially in Boston, with the fact that it's what have you done for me lately, and you don't get a lot of time to prove
you just
yourself.
got to win all the time.
One bad season or one bad trade or something, and you're out of there.
Yeah, but he'll always be right up there for us.
Right.
We were so proud, and we're still proud of him. He's still a great friend, and I think he's going to do some great work for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Exactly, yes. Now, quickly, before we head to break, you wanted to talk about the Nighthawks. The Upper Valley Nighthawks, they start their season on Friday, and you know some people involved in that. Yeah,
I do. I know Noah Crane, who's the GM of that team. He's an Upper Valley guy.
Right.
And my father actually has gotten involved as a host for players and coaches. Last year he actually had 2 coaches, and this year he'll be doing the same thing with 1. and just a really neat sort of pure what
Yeah.
it's meant to be kind of
Yep.
thing. It's all collegiate players, a lot of them for elite college programs
Right. Yes.
down south, and it's impressive.
It's a lot of fun. And
any of your viewers out there, you want to check out a really cool game.
And they pack the games into a short season, and they're always playing either at home or on the road. So it's an exciting time. When we come back, we'll talk some NBA basketball finals. Obviously, are kind of maybe they're over, maybe they still have some life. The Cleveland Cavaliers. So we'll get Rob's take on that. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.